Here's a question I received from someone, and I hope this helps you out here and along with others. This is actually something that happened to me. I had tiled a shower over green board, and this is actually what it looked like after probably about 2 or 3 years. It had a water leak. I want to say it leaked from the window. It got a little crack in the window. And, from someone being tall, my kids were tall, they're splashing, the water splashing on top of the windowsill and eventually leaking in between the window frame and the tile. And, it expands the green board, the drywall. And of course, it starts peeling apart, and you end up with something like this. Here's what the framing looked like, and it didn't look too bad. And again, this didn't go on for too long. I want to say it might have leaked for about maybe 6 months, something like that, maybe a year. You can see the mold growing on, or the black spots there on the wood. And I simply sprayed this down with chlorine. Chlorine's a little stronger than bleach, and let it dry, and went back to put it all back together again, but didn't use the green board. Now here's basically part of the question from the viewer, and they have a 2-story house with a bathtub and of course the green board. Same type of thing, but looks like it had a little more damage done to it. And of course he had OSB shear panel on the exterior. Basically, here's what it would look like with the OSB, let's say, for example, sheathed or covered on the exterior of the house. And of course, the protective layer of building paper, usually it's Tyvek, I would imagine most of the time now, and over the Tyvek was stucco. So I'm just kind of drew these to give you an idea of what we're dealing with, or what kind of problems you could encounter if you have a little too much damage from the shower. And here I went ahead and I just kind of cut out a rectangle. Obviously your damage isn't going to be rectangular, but this was the easiest way for me to do it. And this, I'm just kind of giving you an idea of what it would look like if you had a small patch of damage. But the main point I'm trying to make in this video is that some of the damage is going to need to be repaired from the exterior of the house, which would actually require removing the stucco. And I understand that would be a big job. It's not going to be something easy. And of course, you're not going to be able to fix it from the inside, because you're not going to be able to reach down. How far can you reach down without removing the bathtub? And don't forget that the subfloor, the plywood or OSB that the bathtub is sitting on, could also be damaged. So, this isn't just, it's not like you can take a section of, you take the tile off, you take the backer board off, and you just repair the damage there, and you're done, because you really don't know the extent of the damage without doing a little more forensics, which would be removing stuff like the stucco and the bathtub. And like I said, I understand that could be a big job. Here's, I drew a little longer rectangle just to give you an idea. The damage from a 2-story building from a bathtub or a shower can go all the way down to the bottom, wherever you're going to have wood underneath the water damage. It can go travel great lengths and do all sorts of damage. Of course, the sooner you catch this stuff, the better you're going to be. But to answer one of the questions in the email, do I just leave the OSB alone and let it dry and go forth with the project? That's going to be up to you, because the damage that you see, you can fix that damage, or you can fix some of the damage, but you're probably not going to be able to fix the damage that's underneath. So when you spray these areas for mold with chemicals, how much are you actually going to be able to kill? You would need these chemicals to actually cover the areas where the mold actually is. And if the mold is in the ceiling or the wall framing for the first floor, then you're not really going to be killing all of the mold. So you're kind of going to be putting a band-aid on this thing by just replacing some of the damage. But it all goes back to how much of the damage are you willing to replace? How much work are you willing to put into this, and how much money are you willing to spend? I mean, a lot of people just take a situation like this. They just go in and they fix what they can because it's going to cost them thousands of dollars to fix the rest of it. But if you want to do it right, you will need to probably remove the bathtub. You will need to remove some of the stucco and get all of the water damage repaired, all of the mold killed, stuff like that. And this is what, like I said, a lot of people aren't willing to put that in, and I don't blame them because it costs a lot of money. Another question: if I leave the mold, will the mold? If I leave, hold on a second. Do I just leave the OSB alone and let it go forth? Okay, I already read that. If I leave it be, will the mold keep growing? Obviously, if there is moisture, yes, the mold will continue to grow if it's in a damp area. But will it die off eventually if the area dries out? I would imagine it would, but that's just a guess on my part. And that's a tough one to answer. Will the mold keep growing? Because you can treat it with chemicals sometimes, and it'll keep growing. So I was planning on doing a wood sealer on the remaining of the OSB and wood frame of the shower. I don't think a sealer is going to do any good, and I'm basing that off of painting. If you paint over mold, or you paint over an area where the mold has been killed but there's still a few spores there, then it'll grow in the paint or underneath the paint. So I don't think the sealer is a good idea. I don't think that's really going to help anything. My other question was, the two side walls of the shower have no damage at all. Do I go ahead and replace those drywall with new updated shower sheetrock? I wouldn't use any type of gypsum board products for your shower. If you're going to use anything, go with a cement fiber board. And I would advise replacing the entire shower enclosure. That way you can make sure that it's waterproofed, or not waterproofed, water resistant. You've applied some type of water resistant barrier like Tyvek or building paper around these the shower walls of the bathtub. And but again, do not use gypsum products. I mean, I'm not a big fan of them. If you use them, knock yourself out. And I wish you the best of luck. The cement fiberboard does seem to work the best. And if you want to take it one step further, you would lath and basically stucco the inside of the shower enclosure. And that of course would be a project. Wouldn't be a project for a beginner. So I'd recommend using the kind of middle of the line cement fiberboard, something like that, as a tile backer. So hope that answers your question. I realize this is a long video. I made it specifically for the email recipient.